Live from Eugene, Oregon, it's Alex Konoff, aka Ghost Liberty, aka Cypher Kai, aka Original Night Slayer.
On this most auspicious of nights, permit me then, in lieu of the more commonplace sobriquet, to suggest the character of this dramatis persona. Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. The only verdict is vengeance, a vendetta, held as a votive not in vain, for the value and veracity of such shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily, this vichyssoise of verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Eugene feels like a city that markets itself as tolerant, progressive, and countercultural, but in practice it often behaves like the opposite. The image on top says openness, inclusion, and free expression, while the behavior underneath says control, conformity, and punishment for being inconvenient. That gap is what makes the city feel not just disappointing, but fundamentally contradictory. The pattern shows up in the way public space is managed. People get pushed for sitting in the wrong place, resting in an alley, using a loudspeaker, or being visibly poor, tired, disabled, or hard to ignore. What should be ordinary human presence gets recast as a problem to remove, which makes the city feel less like a shared public space and more like a controlled zone where only certain people are allowed to be comfortable. That is why the whole thing feels so petty and arbitrary. The rules are often not about real harm, but about maintaining appearance, protecting business interests, and preserving the comfort of landowners and storefronts. In that system, a speaker on a backpack, a cigarette near the road, or a person sitting down becomes a bigger offense than the social conditions that force people into those situations in the first place. The contradiction gets sharper when the city or its institutions speak the language of tolerance while punishing speech, discomfort, or dissent. A library that praises banned books but acts hostile to offensive expression, or a city that calls itself progressive while policing everyday behavior, is not practicing openness in any meaningful sense. It is performing values it does not actually extend to everyone. The conclusion is that Eugene has become a hollow version of the place it likes to imagine itself as being. It still uses the vocabulary of liberation, but the practical reality is a hierarchy of property, commerce, and image management backed by moral policing. That is why it feels authoritarian on the left, not because it lacks ideals, but because it uses those ideals as a cover while enforcing conformity underneath.